Today, we're going to talk about the neuroscience of leadership. Dino, you ready? Okay. We're going to understand how our brains work, how to have them work for us more effectively. So sit back and buckle up. Reminder, write down any questions that you have for Dean and I'm sure Dean will ask questions during his presentation. Dean and I have had the good fortune of knowing each other for many more than 5 years right now. He's a friend. He also is an author, an extraordinary speaker, a father. His daughter just signed up for some colleges last night or 2 nights ago. I'm throwing him into depression right now because that's his baby.
Bill had to help me last night. He said it's liquid love.
He's a son.
And he wasn't talking about the bourbon.
Yeah. He's a son and a friend. Dean is going to help you get to yes using the neuroscience of influence. So please welcome my friend Dean Minuto.
Wow. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. It's not often you get to start at 7 a.m. with a band, huh? How cool was that? Pretty cool. The band is setting up in the men's room for the break, just so you know. There was a band at the cocktail party. There's a bit. Yeah. So just so that you guys know. So how's everyone feeling this morning? What, a beautiful day like this? And we can do better than that. How are you guys feeling this morning? So let me try this again. Okay, following me, you guys have, I believe, the most important thinker and speaker since Stephen Covey. All right, Dr. Bill Crawford and his stuff has actually changed my life and my family's life. Okay, this afternoon, you're going to get your minds Googled. So let me ask you again, how are you guys feeling today? Great. All right. So, and I'm going to talk to you about how people make decisions and how you can help someone say yes to you faster. So, how excited are you to see me? Great. Yeah. All right, that's better. Well, let me tell you how excited I am to see you guys. So. I started going blind when I was 17. John knows that, but the rest of you probably don't. This time last year, if you had met me, I had completely lost 98% of the vision I had lost in my left eye, and I was rapidly losing the vision in my right eye. So I would tell Vistage members, if you see me leaving in the rental car today, don't pass me on the left. Sure, laugh at the blind kid. Who was it? Right? Miracle, guys, in October, and partly because of Vistage, because I'm a member as well, and access to something called HealthNet, which I'll tell you about in a minute, I found the #1 cataract and glaucoma guys in the world. The end of October last year, they replaced the lens in my left eye. In December last year, they replaced the lens in my right eye. Guys, I have 20/20 vision for the first time in my life. No. Thank you. So knowing that I had to have the surgeries done, I went in to see the first specialist. And he said, before we get started, Jeff, I don't know if I told you this story. So I go in to see the first specialist, and he says, we got to take care of the cataract. No, we got to do the glaucoma first. There's a drop I'm going to put you on, Dean. It's going to burn your eyes. It's probably going to turn your green eyes brown. He said, is that a problem? I said, well, is there another drop? He said, yeah, there's another drop. He said, are you an athlete? I said, where are we going with this? He said, the other drop's going to mess with your heart, make it hard for you to breathe. He said, which one do you want? I said, I don't want either of those drops. He said, I'm telling you, slow down. You're not putting any drops in my eyes today. Take it easy. I need more information. He says, what do you think, you're going to Google this? I said, no, I think I'll find another doctor, if that's all right with you. So as a Vistage member, we as members have access to something called HealthNet. HealthNet is a concierge service for us for free. They'll produce a report ranking all the doctors in the world for any condition we have, our family, our employees. So they rank the top doctors in America. And it took me 2 months, but I got in to see the #1 guy is named Dr. Michael Pro at the Wills Eye Institute. Let me grab this if I could, Steve. I'll give it back to you. So I go in to see Dr. Michael Pro, and he walks in. By the way, I get into his office. Outside of his office, there's a banner. It says, U.S. News and World Report, #1 ranked cataract glaucoma specialist in the world, well, in America. By the way, I met his assistant that day. She's a Harvard graduate. So Michael Pro comes in, he's got my file, and he's got his assistant next to him, and I had my girlfriend Dawn next to me. He says, Dean, he says, before we get started, he says, you need to know two things, because we've been through your file in detail. He says, the first thing is you're going blind. He said, the second thing you need to know, you ain't ever gonna go blind as long as we're here. We got everything you're gonna need to save your vision this year. We got a new lens you're gonna qualify for. Before the end of the year, we're gonna take those cataracts out. You're gonna see like you haven't seen since you were a child. He says, the other thing we got a drop for the glaucoma. It's a miracle drop. It's gonna lower the pressure in your eye about 40% next couple. He's got a couple of side effects. Let me tell you, first, less than 5% of the cases, it might slightly deepen the color of your eyes. You might go from a green to a slightly darker green. He said, let me tell you about the other side effect. He looked at my girlfriend, Dawn. He says, Dawn, it's gonna make his eyelashes longer and thicker. Dawn says, put him on the drops. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Same drops the first doctor recommended. Was the message framed differently to me? Yes or no? Yes. I'll say, if you guys got a pen and a piece of paper, I just want you to write Dr. 1 and Dr. 2. And I want to ask you, what did you hear that was different? Both of those two doctors wanted to get me to say yes. They wanted me to put those drops in my eyes. Only one got me to put the drops in their eyes. So you know, what's jumping out at you guys? Anyway, just to show who's got something that's jumping out at them. What's jumping out at you? Yeah.
Started with a positive result.
Wait a second. Didn't he say you're going blind? But then what did he say immediately?
We're going to make you see.
You ain't ever going to go blind. So started with the outcome, right? Excellent. What's your first name?
Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Who else got something? Something they heard. Come on, this is like where the audience. Yeah, what do you got?
The ill effect was in less than 5% of the cases.
Yeah, it might slightly mess with the color, but it's less than 5%. And you're going to go from it, right? So he minimized the difference to me, the negative difference, minimize it. What's your name?
Elaine.
Thank you, Elaine. Excellent. Yeah, what'd you hear?
Talk to you as a person, less than somebody that had to listen to him because he was the authority figure.
Absolutely. First doctor kind of challenged me to doubt him, didn't he? Kind of said, I'm in control here.
Yeah.
Second doctor, we were on the same team. Guys, let me ask you, if you met either of those doctors today, on break here, and asked, what do you do? Would either of them say, I'm in sales? Yes or no? No. So here's a statistic I want you guys to consider before we get started. Only one, according to the Department of Labor, 1 in 9 Americans are in sales. What do you guys think about that figure? What do you mean? What do you mean? That's the Department of Labor says. What do you mean? What do you guys think it is? What? 8 in 10? How about this, Jeff? When we look at how the average American spends her workday, doesn't matter if it's in IT, doesn't matter if it's in finance, every single American, irrespective of her role, spends 48% of her day, every day, trying to do what, guys? Trying to influence someone. But let's not call it sales. If we call it sales, they'll quit. Because what's the paradigm, guys? What's the mental model about sales? It's negative. It's manipulative. Wouldn't you agree that both of those two doctors, if you really think about it, need to influence people? And here's the challenge we have. First doctor screwed it up. Made it harder for me than he needed to. In your most important situations, guys, you can screw it up. You can make it harder for people than you need to. So we're all put here for a reason. This is what I was put here for, to be here with you guys, okay? I can help you get to yes faster with people in your most important situations. And if I was only going to share everything I share with you today is going to be based on science, okay? And if I were only share one piece of science, I've actually drawn it up here on the board, and I'll move the board up here so that you guys can all see it more clearly. So what I've drawn right here, scientists call perceptual contrast. Okay, so let me put this 3 buckets up here, because this explains the difference between those two doctors. Okay, so I got 3 buckets of water. And I've filled them with different temperatures of water, okay? So the bucket in the middle I've filled with room temperature water. Bucket here on Andrew's doing the CEO prayer. He thinks I don't see him. It's okay, Andrew, it's all right. So right here on the left, Andrew, is the ice water, cold water. I got your attention now, though, right? Good, you're with me, all right. Bucket over here on the right, has the hot water, almost boiling hot. Now I bring you guys up here one at a time. I take your left hand, I dip it in the ice water. I take your right hand, I dip it in the hot water, and I hold them both there for some period of time. Now I take them both out and I put them in the room temperature water. Guys, how does the left hand that was soaking in the ice water, how does it feel the room temperature water? How about the other hand, which was soaking in the hot water? How does it feel the room temperature water? Guys, did the middle bucket change? Did the drops those two doctors were recommending, did they change? What changed? What I call the framing. Guys, this is the most important concept I could share with you. So let me give you the definition. This is the definition from behavior. I worked for more than a decade with the most often quoted living psychologist. He just came out with his second book in the last 30 years, and it's incredible. His name is Dr. Robert Cialdini, okay? Perceptual Contrast says this: you can change how someone feels about anything based on what you give them to feel before that thing. Doctors were recommending the same drops, but they had my hands in different buckets before they wrecked. Does that make sense, guys? Let me say this again. You can change how someone feels about anything based on what you give them to feel before that thing. So suppose, guys, suppose I wanted to bring you up here and have you feel this middle bucket as cold. Would I just put your hand in that bucket and ask, so how's it feel? No. If I'm smart, if I wanted you to feel that middle bucket as cold, what should I put your hand in first? The hot water. Dr. Cialdini now calls this persuasion. That's the title of his new book. You want to persuade someone? What you do before persuading them is more important than what you ask them for. And here's how this is important to you, okay? You all have someone you need a yes from. In the coming month or quarter, everyone here needs an important yes from someone. So I want you to take a moment and think about who that is and write their name. You know, our CEO who spoke said, give them a face. And that's an incredible piece of advice. I want you right now on a blank sheet of paper to write down the name of a person you all need a yes from in the coming month or quarter. So a little background here as you guys are doing that, because I've done this with more than, now 8,000 Vistage members around the country and in Canada. So Vistage has 26,000 members now, rapidly growing. Vistage is also the largest speakers bureau in the world, something you guys may not know. John has access to 3,000 featured speakers. I believe Bill Crawford is the most important of them. And I'm excited to hear what Amy and her partner have to say to you guys. This talk, and I'm going to share with you a summary of it, was the most requested talk within the network last year for one reason. Everyone needs to get a yes from someone. Okay? So members talk to me about vendors they're renegotiating a deal with. They want a concession. They talk to me about a big client they're looking to have say yes to them. They talk to me about someone on their board, someone they're looking to hire, someone in their family. Sometimes they tell me they need to influence their wife, and I say I only have 3 hours. So you guys all need a yes from someone. Next to that person's name, I want you to write this question. Have I created the right framing yet? Next to that person's name, I want you to write, remember the 3 buckets. Have I created the right frame yet? Framing is the most important concept that I could share with you today. And I'm going to summarize information from a ton of books and research. So let me ask, before I get started, have any of you guys ever read a book before on sales or marketing? Anyone? Yeah? Come on. How many of you? Raise your hands. Have read a book before on sales. Wait a second. Only 1 in 9 Americans. Take a guess. And it's Megan. If you were to go on Amazon.com and do a search, sales, marketing, influence, how many titles do you think would come up? Any? Somewhere between 100 and 1 million? Yeah. You guys are exactly right. If you guys do that search, there's 437,000 books. And I know that because I published mine 4 years ago. Just what we needed was one more? Yeah. I did bring one for each of you today. Guys, why would there be so many books on sales and marketing? Why? We all need to get yeses. We're all involved with it, okay? So I want to help you accelerate the process of getting a yes from someone. I want to help you get yeses more often, and I want to help you do that, more importantly, in an honest and ethical way. So of the books that have been written in the last 30 years, I believe that the most important one is this one right here. I mentioned Dr. Cialdini earlier. Dr. Cialdini is the Regents Professor of Psychology at Arizona State. He helped develop the influence program for the MBA program at Stanford. He sat in the Tom Peters chair when he was there. Guys, if you're only going to read one book on influence this year, this would be the book I'd recommend, okay? So it's 350 pages. I'll tell you that before. So the first half of the book is about con artists. Dr. Cialdini is the world's leading expert on how con artists get into people's brains. You guys remember a few years ago, Bernie Madoff stole all that money on Wall Street? Cialdini was the front page interview in the Wall Street Journal. He was on CNN that week. When a con artist is uncovered, they go to Dr. Cialdini, the media does, because they want to say, how did he do that? In the first half of this book, Cialdini says, here are the tools that con artists use to get into your brain. Tool, like a knife, like a gun, right? Sebastian, could be used for good or evil. You know, it depends what your purpose is. Now, the problem with this book is that it's 350 pages. And I say it's a problem because the research, I would give this book to you instead of mine today, because I want to make a difference for you, and I believe this is a massive difference. The problem is the length of it. Even if I were to give this book to everyone in the room, the research shows, because it's 350 pages, 70% of you will never do what with it? Yeah, so we're done talking about books. No more books. Okay, so look, here's what I got. I got some maps for you, okay? Everything in my book and everything I share with CEOs, not you guys, I'm talking about the CEOs who have attention deficit. Sebastian, okay, no, I'm sorry, a little bird. Look, oh, no, it's okay. Well, I got you, Sebastian. Okay, I'm picking on Sebastian because I love him. Guys, everything in that book I could cover in these 7 cards. And up here, I want you guys, if you guys take a copy of this map, I want you to write the name of the person you need a yes from. Okay, and I'm going to give this map to you guys also as a gift. So one for you, and I'll tell you what, I'll just hand them out to various sides of the room, then we'll start in the back. Guys, 7 cards, and I'll have a chance to cover a few of them with you today. Okay, and I'll let you guys pick where we're going. Let me tell you a little bit about the cards. The first card, and by the way, they spell an acronym. 7 cards spells out the word magnets. Motion, ask, give, nice, evidence, trust, supply. All the greatest models have acronyms that you can remember them. Okay, this one is magnets if you want to attract a yes. Dr. Bill Crawford is going to give you a model in about an hour that can stop stress, anxiety. It's a model he refers to as BRAIN, B-R-A-I-N. Guys, it has changed my life. And if you guys pay attention, it will change yours as well. So there's a model right here, okay? Motion, the first card. I'm sorry Jeff made you come today, but here, I'll send this on. First card, motion, got someone elected president 4 years ago. That's a fact. 3 hard copy books have already been written about how the Democrats use motion to get someone elected president. Okay, and I could summarize that for you. Second card, where it says ask, is all about framing, And according to the science, it's a key technique you can use to frame any situation. This middle card right here, this third card says give, is such a powerful trigger from behavioral psychology. The government has rules that say you're not allowed to use this card if you're doing business with the government. You're not allowed to use this card because they know that this card can trigger people. Okay, let me keep one for myself. Thanks, Rob. So this is a very powerful card. Nice, the card in the middle. Guys, the leading negotiation expert in the world today is arguably Dr. Stuart Diamond. He's at the Wharton Business School. Stuart Diamond trains the executives at Google in their negotiations. By the way, he also, what you should know, once a year he flies to San Diego and trains the Navy SEALs. He teaches them how to get information from people without having to kill them. So if you guys are interested in that, we'll talk about the nice card and how you can use it to get information or concessions from people. Okay, evidence, this card right here, the E in the magnets card, this has been used by major marketers for our entire lives to get us to buy their. We have any extra of the maps still hanging around? Send them on back. Well, how many were you keeping, Dame? Come on, man. Send them back. All right, I know I got enough here. Okay, evidence. Major marketers for the last 40 years have been using this to get us to stop at their place and buy their product versus going down the street to the place right next to them. What do we have left? Trust. There's 3 shortcuts, guys. Three, according to the scientists, according to Dr. Robert Cialdini, 3 shortcuts we look for. Oh, Terry, there you go. 3 shortcuts we look for to decide whether we're going to trust someone. So if you want people to trust you, I can share with you what are the 3 fastest shortcuts the research says we can use. The last card, the card on the end says supply. Supply is the most powerful card on the list, according to the brain scientists, but they say that you guys aren't going to use it, so we won't worry about that one. But I'll let you guys pick. Everyone got a handout? Yeah? Yes? No? Yes. Good. All right, so what you guys might want to do, if you have an important yes coming up in the top right, you might want to write that person's name. Who do you need a yes from? Write their person's name up in the top right. So, a little bit of background on me. John knows my daughter. I call her the birdie. That's Devin, guys. I'm a single dad every other week. The birdie's with me every other week. That gentleman, that's 17, so pray for me. She started applying to colleges on Sunday. By the way, that's her Pepperdine smile. I took Devin to visit Pepperdine in Malibu. She said, Daddy, you've been whispering Pepperdine in my ear since I was born. How come? I said, sweetheart, I went to school in Syracuse. And I love you. That's how come. So we're a huge music family. Ed Dame was asking me how the Leeds Music Festival was. 4 weeks ago, I took the birdie. She wanted to go to Leeds, England, for the Leeds Music Festival. So we were there. 80,000 kids and 8 inches of mud. Pray for me. Last year, just as a little background, she started her first day, junior year, and she called me up. I said, Birdie, I was on the road. I said, how was the first day? She goes, oh, Daddy, it was sad. I said, first day of junior year? How sad? Why? She says, I realized summer was over, Pop. She said, Daddy, we had the best summer ever, didn't we? I said, we really did. By the way, last summer I took her to see Eminem at Giant Stadium. Yeah. Pray for me. Pray for me. She says, you know, you're a great dad. I said, thank you, Birdie. I love you, Daddy. I said, I know you do, Devin. She says, you're a good girl, right? I said, of course you're a good girl, Birdie. She says, Daddy, you remember Aunt Jody when she was I said, my sister? When she was 17? Daddy, what was Aunt Jody? Oh, Aunt Jody was bad, Birdie. Daddy, ain't it true that Grandpa's bald now? I said, it is. And didn't Grandpa say he started losing all his hair when Aunt Jody was 17? I said, that's right. Devin says, Daddy, you still have all your hair, don't you? That's because I'm a good girl, Dad. She says, speaking of hair, she says, you know, it's the first week of school. Mom and I, we're planning on going into a salon this week. Daddy, I want to get a little red highlight in my hair. It's going to cost about an extra $100. Now, Mommy don't have an extra $100. You cool throwing it? I said, you got it, Birdie. What did you guys just hear? Take a moment. I want you to be serious about this. What did you guys just hear? Framing. But how? How did she create the right frame? Guys, framing is the strategy. And would you guys agree that Devin was very conscious of what she wanted to ask me for before she called me? Yes or no? Yes. Persuading. Excellent. You know, sometimes guys will say, Dino, you would have said yes to your daughter no matter what. Is that true? Could she have messed up that request for $100? So listen, I know how you guys feel about your kids because you're here today. I know that you guys care, right? If this beautiful little kid had called me up, I don't want her marking herself. If this beautiful girl had called me, said, Daddy, I want to have a man soak my scalp in a harmful chemical for about an hour or two. By the way, it might cause cancer, Daddy, we're not sure. And the only way that can happen, Pop, is if you throw 100 at your ex-wife. Would you agree it would be framed differently? So how did she create the frame? What did you guys hear her do? Come on. Come on, who's got something? Put your hand up. What did you hear Devin do to create the frame? Anyone? Yes, I'm sorry. How? How? Come on, come on. How? How? Yes, how? What was the tactic she used? Yeah, all that's true, but how did she get there, guys? Questions. Please take a look at the second card. See where it says ask Ask is a tactic. The strategy is to create the frame. Guys, you're going to put 3 bullet points under ask. You ready? Where the white card is? First bullet point. I want you to remember this. Questions control. Guys, who is in control of that conversation? Me or Devin? How was Devin in control? What did she do? Asked questions. Second bullet point under ask. You ready? Questions create the framing. Do you remember Aunt Jody, Devin? Or Daddy? Do you remember? Oh, yeah. What did she do exactly to Grandpa's hair? She didn't tell me anything on that call. She asked. She was in control, and she was creating the framing. Now, here's your third bullet point. You ready? Have I been asking the right questions yet? Take a look at the name you wrote up in the top right, guys. You want to get a yes from that person. I want you to write. That top right section is what I'm going to call the application section, okay? None of this matters if we can't contribute to you guys. If there isn't something that we share today that will help you, that you can apply. So underneath that person's name in the top right, I want you to write this question. Have I asked enough questions yet to create the framing? Create the framing. What is your frame, guys? Before you go into that meeting, before you are with that person face to face, what is the frame you are creating? So that's the most important concept I could share with you, okay? So just to show of hands, how many of you have already taken something from this morning's session? Something? Well, I'm going to head out. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. Thank you very much for being here. All right, guys, if I could only share a couple more things with you, I would share these 3 words. I would summarize everything we know from the world of brain science in these 3 ancient Greek words. So look down on the bottom left of your handout. See where it says alpha, delta, video? Everything we know about what triggers the brain, I can summarize in those 3 words that you guys can use as a checklist before you go meet with anyone. So let's just assume that you guys all have someone that you need a yes from. Okay, you wrote down a name, Marshall, and I know that if this was a Vistage meeting, this would be very confidential, so just share with me, if you can, or make up a name if they're sitting next to you, okay? Marshall, who do you need a yes from? Eric. This is Eric. This is an important yes. Why do you need a yes from Eric? Give us the general.
He's a prospective employee that I need to hire.
You want Eric to come to you. You want him to start working. This is important for you and for Eric. Okay, thank you. Okay, by the way, Marshall did something very well right there. Most common mistake I see especially with CEOs, is they don't focus on an individual. They focus on a group. They focus on their board. They focus on a market segment. I went around the room with a group in Boston about 1.5 years ago, and I asked the host that day, Marshall, just like I asked you, who do you need a yes from? The CEO that day made a mistake, and you didn't make it. CEO said, AstraZeneca. Guys, can you get a yes from AstraZeneca? Who did he need a yes from? An individual. I said, what? He said, her name is Sharon. I said, why do you need a yes from Sharon? He said, Sharon handles our industry for AstraZeneca. I said, if Sharon were to say yes to you, what would it be? He said, 30 million. 30 million? He said, they'll be our new flagship client. I said, so it's important that we focus on this today. He said, absolutely. So in a Vistage environment, I give a 3-hour talk. So I go through everything that you guys see on this poster, okay? At the end of the talk, he said, Dean, are you in town tonight? Do you want to have dinner? I said, thank you. I hate having dinner alone. Thank you. I said, are we going to talk about Sharon? He said, you bet. I said, all right, then you're buying. He said, okay. I said, bring the presentation with you. So he brings the presentation. He brings his PowerPoint slideshow, and it's this thick, and he sets it down on the dinner table, and we're at dinner. I said, holy cow. I said, how many pages is that? He says, 42. I said, this means 30 million to you? I said, wait, before I open this up, what's it mean to Sharon? He said, oh, that's easy, Dino. He says, we could save her $9 million in the first 6. I said, $9 million, huh? 60 days. $9 million in 60 days. Guess where I found that? Slide 37. Guess who the first 15 slides were about? Guys, if you could save someone $9 million in 60 days, where might you consider saying that to them? Well, I'm sorry, where? Yeah, because who do they care about first in any situation? Now, I know that you recognize that. I know that you recognize that people care about themselves first. That's why when I look at your websites, not yours, the others, when I look at your websites, 90% of your websites, first page of your website, most important page, who's it talking about? Us, our people, our process, our beautiful facilities, our inventory. So I want you to write something very technical under the word alpha before I give you the definition. You guys ready? So if I could only share one more important tip with you, it would be this. Very technical, from the world of science. Okay, you ready, John?
Got it.
You ready? They don't give a shit about you. I'm sorry, guys. They don't care about you. Who do they care about first? Guys, you know what the word alpha means? The ancient Greek word, guess what it means? What's alpha? First, most important, biggest, primary. Who does everyone care about alpha in any situation? So here's what I want you to notice. So look at what I had my artist do on the end. I can do it up here just by drawing a line right here, put a little circle on top. You know what I've done? I've just built a little radio station. Here's what we know from the world of brain science. You want someone to pay attention to your message? You've got to send it through this tower. Okay, this radio station has a call sign. It's called WIIFM. What's it? I'm sorry, what? What's in it for me? Underneath alpha, I want you to write this question. If I could only tell them one thing, do I know enough about them yet? Alpha. What's in it for me? Okay, so let's talk about, and you said you want to hire this guy, Eric, correct, Marshall? Correct. I brought Eric here today. You didn't know. John made arrangements to have Eric come. So right here, Marshall, in this bag, you don't think it's possible, but right here, so right here. So do me a favor, hold this bag open. Just hold it while I go. Just hold it right there. I'm going to get Eric out here. Guys, in here I have the person you all need a yes from. This guy did 200 flights on American out of Philadelphia Airport. If you guys can imagine going through security, 200. Guys, say hi to Eric. Marshall needs a yes from Eric. So today we're going to open up Eric's brain, and we're going to talk about how he makes decisions. By the way, the TSA pulls me out of line and asks me, Marshall, what are you doing traveling with a brain? Which is, you guys will laugh later. Okay, trust me. All right, so I'm going to open up Eric's brain. We're going to talk about how the brain makes decisions, okay? So there's two parts of the brain that you need to understand. And Dr. Bill is going to do a better job after me talking to you about why these two parts of your brain are important. But let me just describe a couple things about the brain, okay? So the brain is 2 to 3% of your body's mass. I weigh about 200 pounds. My brain is 4 or 5 pounds. That's not important. What is important is the amount of energy it uses. Eric's brain, just like the rest of you, is the most energy consumptive organ in his body. Uses 25%, a quarter of his body's energy, constantly firing. Guys, why does the brain use so much energy? What's its goal? I'm sorry, Jeff, to keep who alive? So right now, your wife's brain, your first name is? Sean is focused on keeping who alive right now?
Probably me.
No. No, it would be good if you remain alive today, but you're secondary, okay? Who does Sean want to make sure, well, first her kids, I get it, but what? Guys, all joking aside, our brain is focused on whose survival? Underneath alpha, I want you to write these two words. Scientists call it you messaging. You messaging. Gary, there's a word I could use to trigger your brain, and I just used it. Pennington, there's a word I could use for you, and I just used it. Barry, Barry just looked up. Guys, what's the word I could use that will trigger everyone's brain? Their name. So you guys you're at a dinner party. You're over in the corner. Dave's over in the corner. He's not paying attention. Someone walks in the door and says, hey, Dave Wolf. What's he going to do? He's going to turn and look. Why? It's about him. Alpha. The brain pays attention to any messaging that has to do with it. So I just want you to remember, you messaging. Make it about them, about you. Okay? So two parts of the brain that are involved in decisions. The outside of the brain, it's over 80% of the brain, this outside of the brain. The top of the mind, as Dr. Bill Crawford describes it, this top of the mind, okay, has a name. It's called the neocortex. The neocortex. Neo is Latin for new. The outside of our brain is called the new brain for a specific reason. It's the last thing that forms in the womb as a baby develops. So scientists call it the new brain. And in human beings, the new brain fires up at a specific time. When we process words and numbers, all higher level thinking happens out here in the neocortex. In fact, our species is called Homo sapiens sapien. That's Latin for the one who thinks he thinks. Because we think a lot. At least we think we do, right, Megan? Yeah. The reality is this part of the brain doesn't make decisions. This part of the brain slows down decisions. You might want to write this down as a note. When people are thinking, they are not deciding. Have you guys ever tried to get a yes from someone and they said, I need to think about it? Yes or no? Well, guess what? If you're hearing that often, if you and your team are hearing, I need to think about it often, you're doing a good job of throwing words and numbers. I'm going to burn your eyes. I'm going to mess with your heart. Oh, the hell you are, doctor. I need to think about that. Okay? You're actually slowing people down. Sometimes you might want to slow someone down. Sometimes a process is moving too fast. Sometimes someone in your family is making a decision too quickly and you want to slow them down. The way to do that is to give them something else to think about. Okay? So take a look at the name you wrote down. You guys want to get a yes from that person? If you want to slow them down, best way to do that, before you go to that meeting, make sure you have at least one attorney and one engineer write your presentation for you. For the attorneys and engineers in the room, you are laughing more than anyone else, okay? Because you know, you use way too many words, guys. Words and numbers, 42 pages, and where do you hide the most important slide? 37, yeah. Yeah, really. Make it hard for them to make it. Okay, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Okay, I'm here to talk about how you guys speed up decisions. Okay, after me, Dr. Bill is going to talk about how important this part of your brain is to help you get out of stressful situations. What I need to talk to you about is the opposite, how we get inside the brain where decisions get made. So I'm going to open up this person's brain, and we're going to look inside. So we're going to take a look inside Eric's brain right here. All right, so right here, guys, right here is your spinal cord down the center of your back. On the top of your spinal cord right here, about 20% of your brain is called the limbic system. Have you guys ever heard the term fight or flight? Yeah, guess what? That's this part of your brain. It houses an almond-shaped organ called the amygdala. You know what fight or flight means? It means I'm going to take you on, Andrew. We're going to fight, or I'm going to take off, but it's on. Okay, no more thinking. I'm sorry, Andrew. But you're glad I was fighting with him, right? It's fine. Don't correct me again. All right, so the amygdala, right here, is the part of your brain that makes decisions. Guys, this part of your brain gets triggered by three primary things. Alpha, is it about me? Make sure you start with an alpha message. The second thing that triggers this part of the brain is the second Greek word that I've written there. Guys, second Greek word, you remember from math class, delta? What does delta mean? Change, difference. What was the symbol for delta from math class? Triangle, just like this. That's why I have the artist turn that A into a triangle. Guys, next to that triangle, I want you to put a plus or minus. Here's what we know. The brain pays attention to anything in the environment that goes up or down. So let me go back a little bit. How much of the body's energy does the brain use? 25%. Most energy consumptive organ in our body, but it's not in our species' best interest for our brain to always be burning energy. So when you guys know you're safe, your brain can go into a sleep mode. If a speaker's not careful, you guys can all go to sleep, okay? Unless there was delta in our environment. Suppose there's an explosion out there by the bathroom right now. Do you think we might, that massive delta, you think we might stop the meeting and see what happened? Absolutely, because delta might indicate what? Danger. That's your first bullet point under delta. Delta indicates danger. Okay? So here, let's just have a little fun here. All right? So Marshall said he needs a yes from Eric. Christina, who did you write down? Who do you need a yes from?
I am actually in employment, looking for a job situation, so I want an employer to say yes.
Okay. What's the first name of an employer that you can think of that you'd like to say yes to you? Roger. Ladies and gentlemen, say hi to Roger. So Roger's right here on his lily pad, Christina. You want him to do something different, right? You want him to hop, may I? You want him to hop to you, get ready. You want him to hop to you and hire you, correct? Well, he's not sure he wants to do that. That could be risky. Jeff, hold on to this. Okay, here, just hold it right down here. Hold it right down here. So look, but you're smart. You're smart. You know what? You're going to share with Roger that something's flying towards him. And all of a sudden, a shadow flies over Roger. As soon as that shadow breaks the light, what is Roger going to do? Ready? He's going to jump. Why? What could shadow be? A bird, right? Roger's not that bright, but he saw what happened to his cousin last week, right? Bird is bad. But wait, look where he landed. He landed on top of Jeff's alligator. Now, he's on a lily pad up here. The gator don't see him. And he don't see the gator yet. Now the gator floats up right in front of Roger. What is Roger not going to do for all the money in the world? He is not going to move because the delta is too close and too personal. Underneath that first bullet point, I want you to write this. You wrote delta means danger. Danger can make people freeze. The part of your brain that makes decisions has been called the fight or flight brain. But it's also the freeze brain. Freeze is a decision. If what you represent is too close and too personal for people, they will freeze. Does that make sense, guys? So here's what I'd like you to do. Top right of your handout, where you wrote that person's name, I want you to take a moment. I want you to write this question. And if this was a Vistage meeting, I would give you 3 or 4 minutes to actually work your way through this. But underneath that person's name, I want you to write this question. What's at risk for them? What's at risk? Now I'm going to give you guys a minute of silence. In that minute, I want you to think about the person whose name you wrote down, and I want you to think about what's at risk for them. Where's the agenda? What time does it say I need to go to? I got to make up a bunch of crap still. What? I'm sorry? 10:15. Okay, good. What's at risk for them? How about you write this question? You ready? Do they see me as safe or risky? I want you to think about all the framing we've been exposed to during this presidential campaign, guys. I don't care what your politics are. This is the Super Bowl to me. Every 4 years, I study what happens. How many of you guys watched the debate last week? I took 8 pages of notes. And I couldn't sleep afterwards. What's all the framing? You're at risk. You're in danger. We're doing bad. We're losing. Take a deep breath, guys. Framing. Risk makes people freeze. Okay? What's at risk? I'll give you a real world example. So on that same call I had with Devin last year, Bertie says, oh, hey, Dad, by the way, my favorite new band is coming to Philly. I said, oh, that's awesome. We'll go see them, Bertie. She says, Dad, they're called Highly Suspect. They're this new hard rock three-piece. They're awesome. I said, great, Bertie, we'll go see them. She goes, there's a problem, Dad, but I know you'll fix it. I said, what's the problem, Bertie? She said, they're playing at a 21 and over bar called Johnny Brenda's. The website says no exceptions. Dad, I'm only 16, but I know you'll get us in. Okay, hold on. Who is my target? If I were to write down a name in that situation, who do I need a yes from? Bar owner. What's at risk for that bar owner? By the way, this is what you call a 2-call close. First call, I make to the bar, whoever answers, I say, hi, Jan, I said, how long have you worked there? She says, 5 years. I said, great, let me ask you, has the bar manager ever made an exception to the 21 and over? Oh yeah. If he likes you and trusts you, he will let you come with your kid. That's the first call. Ask the right questions first, guys. Remember I said start with ask? The little pre-qualification first. Now I asked for the bar manager's name and email address. I send him that picture of Devin and I Okay, by the way, do you notice anything about this picture and why I might have wanted to send this to the bar owner? Correct. Okay, so here's what I make a phone call to him. Chad, my name's Dean Minuto. I'm saying this on his voicemail. You don't know me from Adam, but I'm a business owner just like you, and I know thousands of business owners across the country. I want you to know something. My daughter and I are huge music fans. You get a ton of great bands. I would love to start coming to your place and telling people about it, but I want you to know something before I ask you what I'm going to ask you. I understand what's at risk for you. My daughter's 16. We go to shows together all the time. I understand your license, your liquor license. I want to assure you, you mark my hand, you mark hers. No one's going to drink that night. My daughter wants to go in the business of the music business. She loves live music. And let me tell you something, Chad. I will owe you. You will have a dad, a local business owner who will owe you. And I appreciate you considering letting us come to the Highly Suspect show. He immediately sends a note back. Dean, I'm looking forward to meeting you and Devin that night. By the way, we're looking for interns all the time. Something else you need to know, Dean, about Highly Suspect, they're great guys in addition to being great musicians, and I want to help them be more successful. We'll see you that night. So that morning I get an email from Devin as she's going to school, 6 a.m. Devin sends me out. Daddy, so excited about the show tonight. I just found out, Highly Suspect, there will be 3 opening acts. Highly Suspect comes on at 11 o'clock, Dad. I said, Devin, I'm 127 years old. Are you kidding me? We go, Sebastian, we go, 11 o'clock. We're against the stage, 3 guys right here, Highly Suspect, play till 1 in the morning, okay? As we're leaving, the drummer points to Devin and to the roadie. The roadie gives Devin the set list, handwritten set list. Daddy, can we stay to meet the band? Oh, it's all right. Yeah, of course. It's 1 in the morning. I mean, we're in at this point. Band comes out, lead singer, Johnny, tattoos all up his neck, got the hood over. He walks right up to me and goes, you knew every word to my songs. He says, how old are you? He goes, Dad, Dad. This kid, this rock star, walks up, puts his forehead right on Devin's forehead. Says, tell me what you like about my stuff. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, I said, dude, you deserve to be a rock star. The way you treated one fan, the difference you made right here. We leave, my daughter's flying, right? Hold them, snow's coming down. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Guys, that never would have happened if I hadn't asked what question first. What's at risk? Put a circle around that one. That's a big one. Guys, if you asked me to help you get a yes from someone, first question I would ask you is that one. What's at risk? What's at risk? Do you represent risk? Can you eliminate risk for them? Okay? So, Chad, who do you need a yes from? Who would you write down? No, you could leave now, Chad. No, I'm kidding. Who's got someone they need a yes from? What name did you write down? Yes, sir. Ken? Why do you need a yes from Ken? Okay, so let's start. Alpha. Who does Ken focus on first, guys? Himself. Delta, he wants to understand what's at risk and what the change could be if he says yes to you. But let me tell you the fastest way for you to get information into Ken's brain. Okay, so Marshall, same thing with Eric, who you named, okay? This is Ken. Guys, say hello to Ken. Okay, only 5 ways to get information into Ken's brain. Take a look. What are the 5, only 5 channels by which information gets into the brain? What are they, guys? Eyes, go ahead. Nose, mouth, ears, and what? That's it, the 5 senses. Guess what? Of the 5 senses, 4 are basically irrelevant for keeping you alive from minute to minute. One of your 5 senses is so important that 90% of everything the brain does is process information, guys, from one of your 5 senses. One of your 5 senses is king. Information from that sense gets TSA, front of the line, VIP approval. Which of your 5 senses is the most important for your survival? Eyes. Guys, I want you to watch this. Information is going to get into Ken's brain 30 times faster through his eyes than through his ears. Visuals are processed 30 times faster than auditory messages. So let me walk you through how it works, okay? Here's the retina on the back wall of your eye. Light hits the retina, and it follows a specific process. It gets sent low path processing. Light does not go through the neocortex. Guys, what did I tell you earlier? What does the neocortex do? It thinks, and when we think, what happens to decisions? They get slowed down. Thinking slows down decisions. We don't think about visuals, guys. Visuals get sent to the visual cortex in the back of the brain. From there, they get sent directly to your spinal cord. Less than 50 milliseconds, we make a decision. Okay? The visual cortex assesses speed and angle of approach. Here, let me show you how this works. Andrew, take your phone. It's okay now. Take your phone out again. Take your phone out again. Okay. Mark. Okay, Andrew, stand up. Okay, pretend you're going to whip that phone at him. Or don't actually throw it, but just pretend you're going to whip it at him. As soon as he lets that phone go, what are we going to do? Well, it depends. If he whipped it right at my face, I'm going to duck, right? If he tossed it up in a gentle arc, what would both of us do without thinking? We'd lean forward and catch it. Guess what we wouldn't do, Mark? We wouldn't stop and think. Did you make him angry? Did I? Boy, he throws good. I wonder if he played ball in high school. You know, it's nice. Maybe at lunchtime we can play a little ball outside. Guys, would I stop and do all that thinking while the phone's flying at me? Yes or no? Okay. Guys, here's what you need to understand. We make decisions based on visuals faster than we think. Was this important for your great-great-great-great-grandfather's survival when he was walking across that open field? Yes or no? Okay, thank you, Andrew. Guys, here's what I want you to know. It's all about the third ancient Greek word. This word is actually more than 3,000 years old. We say video. That's not how it's pronounced. If you look it up in a dictionary, that's video. It's an ancient Latin word, 3,000 years old, video. Ancient Latins, they didn't have cameras. They didn't have DVRs. Guys, if you look this word up, do you know what the root meaning of video is? It means to see, and it means to understand. The ancient Latins equated seeing with understanding. So have you guys since you were a kid. Chad, when your dad asked you to do something, you said, oh, I see what you're asking for, Dad. When you said to your dad, I see, guys, what were we saying when we said to our parents, I see? Here's what you need to know. Take the O, and you see that I have it turned into an eyeball. Next to this, I want you to write the number 30 times. Information gets to the brain 30 times faster, guys, through the eyes than through the ears. That's bad news for us. 9 times out of 10, Todd, what are folks trying to use to get someone to say yes? Words. Words are 30 times slower than visuals, guys. So here's 3 tips. You ready? 3 tips for how you can make your, I'm going to give you actually a bonus 4th tip today for how to make your message visual. And I normally don't share the 4th tip with people, but let me give you the first 3. You ready? Here's the first one. Never say it if you can show it. Never talk about a thing if you can bring them to the thing. Underneath the person's name, top right, I want you to write this question. How can I bring them to the thing? Here's your second tip. Your first tip was, if you can't say it, don't say it if you can show it. Here's your second tip. If you can't show it, make a movie of it. Make a movie of it, a video. People love video, guys. Video, video, video. Third tip, if you can't make a movie of it, have a drawing made, have an icon made, create a map. But whatever you do, make your message visual. 4th tip. You ready? Meg, raise your hand. Talk to Meg. Sebastian, show her how a hand gets raised. Sebastian, raise your hand. Ladies and gentlemen, Triscari, okay? Video production, okay? I don't do this often because I often don't have some of my favorite people in the audience, but they do my videos. I send out 1-minute tips each week. For the Vistage members of the room, how many of you got my video tip this week? Okay, some of you already talked to me about it. People love visuals, okay? Start using someone who can help you make your message visual, okay? By the way, 3 websites if you guys want to go to. Make your messages visual. First is called 99designs.com. 99 Designs. Anyone here ever used 99 Designs? Okay, so let me tell you what 99 Designs is. You go in and you tell them something like this. I would like to create a contest for artists to design a handout that looks like a game, okay? I'm willing to pay, I put in $300. I got 99 designs from artists all over the world to create my handout for $300. Okay? Second website, elance.com. It's just recently changed its name, doesn't matter. If you type in E-L-A-N-C-E, elance.com. Anyone here ever use Elance? Is anyone here in the advertising business? Okay, guess what? They hate me telling you this. But let me tell you why this is good for them too. They bring you the thinking, not so much the designs. You hire an agency to help you do the thinking, okay? Okay, the designs can be fairly inexpensive. Elance, 4 million amazing artists all over the world, guys, who have no money today, but a ton of talent, who are sitting at their computers all over the world praying you will do what this afternoon? Ask them to do something beautiful for you. Guys, take a look at my handout. There's 29 icons that are on that handout. They were all designed for me by an amazing artist named Lucia. Lucia is in the Czech Republic. I found Lucia on Elance. I told her I needed icons designed. She said, I'll send you 3 or 4 a day till you, I said, wait a second, what am I gonna owe you? She says, don't worry about that till we're done. We're done. She said, how does $40 per icon sound? Guys, through PayPal, I sent her $50 per icon. And the next morning, I got an email from her husband, Martin, in the Czech Republic. He said, are you trying to steal my wife? By the way, attached is a picture of our baby, Maximilian. We hope you can meet him someday. You are our new favorite client. Guys, this doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Think about what you can be doing to make your stuff more visual. All right? Good stuff so far? Yes or no? All right, let me put pause on this session because I want to hear from you guys what you're taking, and then I want to ask you guys to pick where we're going to go next of the 7 cards that I told you about. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Take a look through your notes. No talking. I'm going to give you a minute to do something we do in Vistage. Take your poster, turn it over to the back. See over on the far right, it says Personal Action Summary. I want you guys to come up with at least one thing you can apply so far from my time with you. Take a look through your notes. We've covered a lot of ground, guys. We talked about framing. Dr. Cialdini's whole new book, Persuasion, is about framing. We talked about some brain science. Alpha, people focus on themselves. Delta, they want to know the difference. Video, make it visual. What have you guys heard? What can you apply? By the way, you might totally disagree with something I said. That's fine if it sparks some thinking for you, okay? You don't have to agree with everything a speaker says. But I might have reminded you of something you used to do and you've gotten away from. Fine, write it down. I don't got to take credit for the idea, but maybe I reminded you of something. Or I might have shared with you something new. So while I take a sip of coffee, you guys take a minute. What have you taken already from today's session? Who's got something they're willing to share with the room? Who's got an application? Yeah, what's your first name? Phil. Phil, thank you. What'd you take?
Questions control.
Questions Control. 3 greatest books I've ever read on questions, guys. The first one came out in the 1970s. The title is Consultative Selling. Went through 7 revisions until Mac Hannon died. Unbelievable if you want to learn the questions to ask in a business environment. Another great book on questions. The New Solution Selling by Keith Eades, E-A-D-E-S. Unbelievable the process he has in that book. How about this side of the room? Who's got a takeaway already from this morning? What you got? Trying to hear, I'm sorry. It's got to be about them. Okay, so now that you guys are on the back of this sheet, you know, if I could just share with you one tool. If I only had 5 or 6 minutes, this big, see this big bar napkin that's open in front of you? Okay, so guys, if you, Gary, let me grab this. I'll give it right back to you. So up in the top left of your handout, you guys see a little answer key that I created. Okay? Top left of your handout, little answer key. See this? This is what we're going to draw out here. So this is a result. I've coached in the last 25 years more than 9,000 CEOs and their teams. Situations where they need a yes. Bring me in, okay? Most of those coaching sessions happen in the back of a bar. I'm not sure if that's because of me or guys like Gary, but I've had to come up with a tool. If all I had was a bar napkin, okay? Big bar napkin here. I call this the one-page sales coach. And in a little bit, I'm going to give you guys all a copy of my book, which is about a 90-minute read, and it'll take you through this. I would draw a line down the center of the page. I'd draw a line across the middle of the page. And I'd put a big triangle in the center, guys. What's the triangle stand for? Triangle stands for difference. So here's my favorite quote. Success is not about making $1. It's about making a difference. I draw a line down the center of the page, a line across the middle, and I would ask you, help me to see the difference you can make in people's life. So up here next to alpha, right here, I'd like you to put in this box, I'd like you to put the word problems, and in parentheses under problems, I'd like you to put the word before. Problems and before. Help me to see the problems that that person is having right now before saying yes to you. Help me to see those problems in 3D. Down the center of the page, guys, you'll notice that there's 3 D words on your handout. First D, dollars. Help me to see their problems in dollars and cents. What's going on in their world financially? If you can't tell me in dollars and cents what's going on in that person's world, second D would stand for data. What information do you have about what's going on in their world? That's causing them pain, guys. For each one of these problems, what's the delta? What goes up or down? If this is problems before, guys, what should the right-hand box be labeled? Solutions. When? After. So I'm going to give you a formula right now. You guys ready? Their problems before you, plus the change you can bring to their world, equals their better world after you. Their problems before you, plus you, equals their better world after you. Here, I'll show you something. Guys, what I'm going to show you right now is arguably the most effective advertising campaign of the last 30 years. I'm just going to show it to you. As soon as you see it, you'll recognize it, okay? Amy, who you guys are going to meet today, I first showed her this, and she was an executive at Vistage. She said, you're not allowed to show it. You guys want to see it now, right? I said, Amy, I'm going to show it. She says, I don't want you to show it. I said, I'm going to show it, Amy, because you know what? Executives need to understand 2 things. Number 1, this is the most effective advertising campaign in the last 30 years. And number 2, you should never use a real person in your advertising campaigns. What's his name? Jared was the highest paid non-celebrity endorser in America. Jared was worth $17 million because of this ad. 2 pictures and a story. Guys, what does this ad say without using any words? Your problem before us, did they make the problem visual? Yes or no? Plus the change that Subway can bring equals your better world after us. Did they make the solution visual? Yes or no? Guys, I want you to write this question on the top of your poster there. You ready? Or over in your application section. Here's the question I want you to ask. Because Subway got so good, they could give you the same message with 1 picture. You ready? What's your Jared story? What is your visual before and after? Uh-oh, JD's looking at his watch. JD, we good? What time you want me to go to? 10:15 tonight? All right. What is your visual before and after? Guys, we got my sound up because I'm going to show a video. You sure? Now, I'm not going to touch it, so you guys may want to adjust it up or down, but it's going to be a little irritating. I want the crowd to know that before you start. Guys, let me show you another ad. This doesn't use a real person, but it's incredibly effective. It's a 1-minute TV commercial. I only need to show you the first 15 seconds. In 15 seconds, guys, in 15 seconds, you'll be able to answer 3 questions. Number 1, alpha. Who's the target for this ad? What's their problem? Number 2, delta. What does this company say will be different in your world? And number 3, are they making the message visual? All right, guys, here we go. Be careful with the sound. Who's the target for the ad? Did they make the problem visual? Guys, please write that down in the top left box. How can I make the problem visual? What's the problem? Kid's not going to sleep. Did they make the solution visual? Yes or no? What's the solution? We got a new mattress. Top right box, guys, please write this question. How do we make the solution visual? How do we make the solution visual? You can make people see stuff without even showing a picture or a video. I'll give you an example right now. I want everyone to look up here at me. I'm going to ask you guys a question. When you get the answer, I'd like you to raise your hand, okay? Please don't say the answer out loud. I'd just like you to raise your hand. How many windows do you have on the first floor of your home? How many windows on the first floor of your home? How many windows on the first floor? I'm laughing because I'm looking. You're incredibly visual. You're incredibly visual. As soon as I asked the question, these two went like this. What were they doing? Marshall wasn't playing at first. I looked him right in the eye. He looked right at me. And then Marshall went, oh, shit. I could tell when you started. Didn't you just see your house, Marshall? Yes or no? Guys, show of hands. How many of you just saw your house? You either walked around inside or outside, didn't you? Because I asked you a question that made you take a visual action. The most successful advertising campaign in the history of selling cars did the same thing 8 summers ago when Americans stopped buying cars. Guys, I've been telling this story for 8 years. I've been a Vistage speaker for 9 years. 8 summers ago, Americans, if you remember that summer, 8 years ago, before Obama took office, people stopped buying cars in America. One company came out with a marketing campaign that made people see something visually and made them take action. 8 years ago. I'll share with you the first half of the message. You guys will finish it. Sold millions of units, stole market share from everyone. You guys will still remember it 8 years later. I'll give you the first half of the campaign. You ready? If you lose your job, we will. It's the Hyundai Assurance Program. Most successful advertising campaign in the history of selling cars. It's got nothing to do with cars. What's it got to do with? And the other manufacturers, when that ad came out, thought Hyundai was crazy. Why would you want to scare Americans? Hyundai didn't scare Americans. They were already scared. Hyundai eliminated the fear. Guys, Hyundai ran that program for 2.5 years. It's the second of 3 Hyundai assurance programs. It's the most, you guys can Google it, but let me save you some time. Okay? They sold several million units because of that program. Guess how many cars they had to take back in North America because people lost their job? Guess how many payments they had to make? Less than 350. Did every American lose their job? But a lot of people thought they might. Guys, I want you to write this question. It's where we started the morning. Top left box, where it says alpha, write this question. What's at risk for them? What's at risk? top right box. How do I eliminate that risk? How do I eliminate that risk? Good stuff, guys? If I were to stop right here, you guys good? Yeah? Cool. We'll cover one of the 7 cards. So Steve, take a look. Front of the handout. We got motion. I've covered ask. We got give, nice, evidence, trust, supply. If you could pick any of those cards for us to cover before I leave, which one would you like to talk about? Supply. You know why you want supply? Because I told you couldn't have it. By the way, 3 bullet points under supply. I'll give it to you real quick, all right? And then we'll cover one more card. I use supply in a manipulative fashion, okay? Supply is three things. You ready? Limited numbers. I told him he couldn't have it. I told him it was the most powerful card here. And when I do that, 100% of the time, what do people say? I want it, because I told him he couldn't have it. Limited numbers can be manipulated. I want you to understand that. If you don't do 2 things, and I'll tell you what they are in a minute. Second bullet point under supply. Deadlines. Car dealer says to you, I need that answer by noon on Saturday. Okay? Or the price is good. What's going to happen? That car going to turn into a carrot on Saturday? Right? Have you ever had a car dealer set a deadline? Right? And what goes off in your mind? It's manipulative. Limited numbers and deadlines can be manipulative. Third bullet point. Penalties. If you don't respond by the 15th, you're going to be penalized. All 3 of these things will trigger people's brains. And what I said to you in the beginning was true. Supply is the card that will trigger your brain more than any other there. And you need to understand there's an organ that you guys have in your brain, I'm going to show it to you right now, that will get triggered if someone uses the supply card on you in a manipulative fashion. Okay? This is called the bullshit button. I want you to write this down. It's BS if there's no because. If you say there's a limited number, there's a deadline, or there's a penalty, people's brains say it's BS unless there's a because. Could there be a valid reason that car dealer tells you need your answer by Saturday? Yes or no? So guys, I just picked up my 11th car in 18 years from the same guy. He's a dear friend of mine. His name is Andy George, and he runs Mercedes of Westchester. I'll show you guys. This was the car I picked up 2.5 years ago. Okay, Devin calls this the Beast. That's a triple black GL. Guys, I love this truck with a feeling that's inappropriate for a man to have. Let me just, okay. Here's my license plate. You guys got to see. Can you guys see this? Okay, so anyways, Andy, I'm a car guy. So Andy calls me up on a Wednesday, says, Dino, we got the new GL in for you. You need to be in the dealership by noon. I said, shut up, Andy. I've known you for 18 years. I got to be in the deal. I'll come when I want. He says, listen to me, smart guy. There's 3 things that are in this deal that you want that go away at noon on Saturday, and I don't have control over it. First thing, Mercedes has agreed to write you a check for 8 months of your open lease payments on the E-Class. You don't want that car anymore. I said, no, it's too small. They're only doing that because we had no used E-Class inventory on the lot last quarter. The end of the sales quarter is noon on Saturday. Guess what? You want to come afternoon? That's fine. Bring a check for $8,000, smart guy, because I can't write the check for $8,000 afternoon. He said, second thing, Mercedes has worked into this deal 0.0. I said, that's right. He said, no. That's only good till noon on Saturday. 12:01, the bank changes the fee to 1 point. I said, guess what I said to him? Well, just come today. Change the plates in my driveway. Why do we have to wait till Saturday? Guys, if you use supply on that person whose name you wrote there, it will trigger their brain. If you use a limited number, a deadline, or a penalty, make sure you use the word because and give them a valid reason why. Does that make sense? All right, so I kind of tricked your brain when I had you pick supply. First name? First name?
Brian.
Brian, if you were to pick any of the cards we haven't talked about, which one would you like to talk about? We got time for one more, buddy.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, so cool. Why did you pick nice? Positive. Here's what we know. Well, let me ask you guys a question. And shockingly, I already know the answer. Are you more likely to do something for free for someone you really like or someone you don't like? Oh, I don't even do stuff for people I don't like if they pay me. Sarah, who is my right-hand person, she's John's right-hand person too, she keeps a list. It's called the Dean No Privileges list. Oh yeah, I actually have a list. These are people who have treated her wrong or treated me wrong, and I will never work with them again. We say yes. We give concessions in negotiations to people we like, guys. All of the research supports this. So I want you to write 3 C's, 3-letter C's. Let me give you the 3 ways to get people to like you, to believe your life. The first one is the most powerful one. You ready? This one you guys could be doing immediately. First C, pay someone a compliment. When you pay someone a compliment, you're basically saying, I like you, but let me tell you what happens from a brain science perspective. When you pay someone a compliment, people's brain immediately releases a chemical called dopamine. Do you guys know what dopamine does in the human brain? I'm sorry, what? Euphoric. Same thing that heroin does in Keith Richards' brain. Did you guys know that's why they call heroin dope? Did you know that? That's why they call people who smoke marijuana dope heads, because of the dopamine release we get. It makes people feel really good, and you guys could be natural drug dealers. You laugh, but I want you to ask yourself this question. Are you doing it enough? Are you doing it with your family? Are you doing it with your vendors? Are you doing it with your employees? Are you paying, a beautiful phrase, guys, Dr. Covey wrote this beautiful phrase. A compliment is a deposit you make in another human being's emotional bank account. Beautiful phrase. Are you doing it? Or, I'm not saying you, Jeff, I'm talking about the other CEOs. Or are you walking around your business like home inspectors? Oh, Christine. Oh, real funny. What's your first name again? Patty. Okay, listen, Patty, Christine, I got this evolution thing this morning, but when we're done, okay, we're going to talk about this shit right here. Home inspectors walk around their business, walk around their houses, look at their kids' bedrooms, looking for what? Boy, I love when you do that. After this talk, could at least 3 of you line up and tell me what I did wrong today? Could you follow me to my next one tomorrow? I love that. You guys laugh. You guys laugh. I'm going to lay out 3 steps across the center of your handout right now. See where it says what, why, and how? 3 steps. If you guys are following these already, awesome. If you're not, 3 steps could potentially double the performance of your team this year. See where it says what? Step number 1, identify best practices. What is your team doing well? The strategy is to identify best practices. The tactic is to pay compliments. Step number 2, see where it says why? Validate why best practices work using science. Guys, I'm giving you a ton of science today. I told you, for example, that paying a compliment works, but I also told you why it works. When you pay someone a compliment, their brain releases what? Dopamine. 3rd step, calibrate how to use this stuff yourself. Dial it in or dial it out for yourself. Guys, if you're following those 3 steps, you're doing what I call Yescalate. Yescalate is a 3-step process. Identify best practices, validate them, and calibrate them. All right, for my sound guys, I'm going to put up another video. This one here you're going to have to turn up. Already start turning it up a little higher than you would normally because this is an older video. Guys, what I'm going to show here is a CEO who claims to have gotten a 46% lift in his team's productivity. As you guys are watching this, I'm going to ask, does this look familiar to any of you?
When we asked Reebok to send us Terry Tate, some people thought we were crazy. But I'm a firm believer in paradigm breaking, outside the box thinking.
Hey, buddy.
Break was over 15 minutes ago, Mitch!
And since Terry's been with us, our productivity has gone up 46%. We're getting more from our employees than ever before.
You know you need a cover sheet on your TPS reports, Richard! That ain't new, baby!
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Janice!
But what's really impressed me is how Terry's become part of the Felcher family.
Get high, baby!
He fits right in here.
That's a long distance call, Doug!
To be honest, I wish Reebok sent us 10 Terry Tates.
You wanna play games, Gene? Well, when it's game time, it's pay time, baby! Woo!
I was the youngest consultant ever hired by a company called the Dun & Bradstreet Corporation for a consulting group that they had. That's the way the VPs treated us. I couldn't wait to get out of there. That's called a culture of compliance. Compliance, where managers and owners and we walk around looking for what people are doing, rating people, scoring people, dinging people. Couldn't wait to get out of Dun & Bradstreet. I then set up my consulting business. I brought on a major client, Fortune 10 client. You guys would all know their name. They hired me to work with 3 of their divisions as a sales trainer. Okay, I'll give you an acronym for their name to protect confidentiality. I refer to them as the GE Corporation. That's the way GE treated their people. Not anymore. If you guys have read the Wall Street Journal, anyone read what GE has decided to eliminate this year? No more performance evaluations. Because they found when they rate people, when they score people, people aren't willing to try new stuff. And in order for GE to survive, their people are going to have to be willing to try new stuff. You know what? You guys are going to be better than that. Better than a culture of compliance. You're going to focus on building a culture of competence. Competence. Because you guys are going to ask this question. One primary question you guys are going to ask. What do we do well? What do we do well? You are going to start looking for best practices. You're going to start holding yourself and your team accountable for best practices. So here's one best practice that we're going to do here in this room. We know that when people put things in writing, they're 200 to 300% more likely to follow through on what they put in writing. This is called the commitment and consistency principle in behavioral psychology. And we now are seeing all the research is suggesting children that type notes learn less. Children that handwrite notes remember more. Because when we handwrite, we're imprinting our brain visually. You guys remember this since you were a kid. Before you went grocery shopping, when you were a kid, your mom or your grandma, your aunt told you to do what? Make a list. So, show of hands, how many of you have taken one thing that you're going to apply from today's session? Okay, I'm going to hand out a little note card. You're going to write on this note card, which is one of my note cards, what you took from today's session. I'm also going to give you guys a little envelope. You're going to write your name and address on that envelope. When you're done writing on this card, you're going to put the card in the envelope, you're going to seal it, and you're going to give it to me. 60 days from now, I'm going to mail it to you. And it's going to freak you out. You're going to get a letter. You're going to forget you even wrote it. You're going to forget this session. But I want you to ask yourself in 60 days, did I do this one thing I said I was going to do? All right? So what I could have, so just on this side here, Sebastian, what's your first name, sir? Jesse, what's your first name? Mike, come on up here. I want you guys to help me. I'm going to give you guys some of these cards to hand out to people. Okay? First row, just grab one, hand it down there. Sebastian, take a stack, hand it down there. First one, hand it down. Oh, there's just you. There we go. Look, that was easy. First one, hand it down to the end. Guys, take a stack, Go ahead. Okay? Where did Sebastian's back there? Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we got extra ones of these at the end, I want you guys to just give them back to me. We've got cards coming through. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Gotcha. I'll get this row right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. You guys need, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go ahead, take one card. This row, you guys good? 2 more, you got it? 1, 2. Anyone else? Extras? Good. Extras? Good, thank you. On this card, I want you to write today's date. I want you to write JD Evolution Event. And I want you to write down on this card the one thing that you're going to hold yourself accountable to. All right, guys, we still got the envelopes to hand out, but I'll take care of these. You guys go ahead. Okay. I'm not going to tell you. I will tell you, I promise. I will tell you, I promise. Okay, so When you filled out this card, I want you to put it in this envelope. I want you to write your name on this envelope, okay? Your name and address. Take one and hand it down. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Take one and hand it down. Son of a... Do me a favor. Pop that open, John. Start handing them out for me. John, you start with your row. Start moving back, and I'll go to the back there. I want it addressed. I want your name. If you want the postman to get it to you, put your name and address on it. I'll take care of the stamp. Okay, I'll start in the back here, John. One thing that you're going to apply from today's session. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3. Pass it on down, Terry. 1, 2. Who needs that? Are you good? Did you get this? No. Okay. Yes, I will cover the other 2 C's, so everyone just hold your fire. I promise I will. Okay. You good? We all got one? Okay. And up here, I got a copy of my book. It's John's, it's Jay. Here you go. How many we need? I got a copy of my book for each of you. John Dame's gift to you, so come on up and grab those. Okay, so people ask what the second 2 C's in nice were. I'll give them to you. First C, fastest C, easiest C, pay a compliment. Second C, a little bit more difficult. You want someone to like you, they need to find stuff in common with you. Guys, that's a little more difficult, because what are you going to have to be willing to do for people to find stuff in common with you? What have I had to do this morning what have I had to do this morning? I've had to stand up in front of a group of a couple hundred people and go like, what's this? Why don't we like doing this? What could happen? I got news for you. Andrew, you're not going to believe it. Some people don't like me. I know, I can't believe it either. Right, I know. Some people don't. Guess what? I can win 9 out of 10 of them over if I'm willing to open myself up. We do business with people we like. We like people who are like us. Here's what all the negotiation experts say, guys. Every negotiation is personal. It's all personal. Number 1, pay a compliment. Number 2, find stuff in common. Number 3, most powerful of the 3 C's, think about the doctor in the example I gave you this morning, Dr. 2. Number 3, collaborate. He basically put his arm around me and said, come on, we got you. You're not going to go blind. So those are the 3 C's. Good stuff today, guys? I'm going to, whoa, no, thank you. But I want you to see my most favorite visual. And this is, this visual I first saw 25 years ago. I end every talk with this visual. The statue that you see here is 14 feet high. The artist's name is Bobby Carlyle. Guys, I want you to take a moment and just kind of soak this in. And the title, Bobby, this is a person carving himself out of a block of granite. Bobby calls this self-made man. Pretty cool? I found her in Colorado. I called her up 25 years ago. I said, Miss Carlyle, that is the coolest thing I have ever seen. She said, Dean, you can buy this one for $85,000. I said, it's not that cool. I bought a poster from her at the time, was all I could afford. And then I bought a little version of this for my dad, who's my closest buddy, a little bowling ball trophy-size version. And then I saved up and I bought a 3-foot version of this for myself. When I bought the 3-foot version, Bobby had it mounted on a wooden turntable. She said, Dean, I want you to spin this. I want you to see. He has marks all over his body to prove how hard work this is. There's an ancient phrase, guys. Every religion that has a book says this someplace in the book. You ready? They themselves are makers of themselves. For those who have faith, even more shall be given. You guys have a vision, what you want to create for yourselves, for your families, for your businesses, for your customers. You guys do the hard work every day of chipping away at the stone. There are certain people in the world, guys, who are instruments that help us do this. JD is one of those very special people. Vistage chairs around the world are some of these very special people. Instruments, which is better than calling John a hammer, wouldn't you agree? And beats the heck out of me calling him a tool. Okay, speakers like me are instruments. JD, thank you for letting me be here. Guys, I said it was my goal to contribute. I hope you feel I did. Okay, see you for the rest of the day. Thank you. Bring me your cards. Come get a book.
All right.
Come get a book. Bring me your cards.
Pretty cool, huh? Good presentation. Couple reminders, back to music, take about 20 minutes. One is continuous learning is part of being a great leader. So there are books that we're going to have today. Dean's book, which I want you to grab, Dino, if you can go back to the back of the room. I'm sure some people would like to have him autograph the book and talk to him. He's a great guy. He'll come back after lunch and do that, I'm sure. So leave the books here. Just come up and grab a book, take it back, have him autograph it. We have other books today. I just wanted to point out the ones for today, and then there's some ones from the previous meetings. Search Inside Yourself. This book started the internal Google training program, I think. Joy on Demand is a new book. And Dr. Bill's book, which is Life from the Top of Mind, and Bill will also be back there to sign it a little bit later. You can grab these copies outside. We're going to sell these, but Dean's is going to give his away to you. Also, if you have a moment, go to the back of the room, drop your business card in for the prizes that we have. We'll start drawing them after lunch, okay? Thanks a lot. Come back in 20 minutes.